Well, hello, vinyl community. Welcome to my channel. Welcome back to my channel if you've been here before. My name is Richard. I had not been intending to make a video again quite as soon, but there's two videos I need to make. I want to make this one on the Prog Rock Vinyl Tag 2021 by the VinylVerse, Bill at the VinylVerse, and thanks to Pete from Sounds at the West Coast for flagging this one for me. And the second one I hope I will make maybe later in the week if work affords me. If nothing else, I'll get a little break over Memorial Day for that. But so for this prog rock vinyl tag, I may need to dip into a few things that I have shown before. Like I have said in previous videos, I'm still building a vinyl collection. It's kind of been a COVID era start of a hobby of mine of collecting vinyl. I have some CDs. You can see some of them behind me here. A lot more CDs than I have vinyl. I will show some CDs, but I will favor vinyl where I can, and I will not dwell too much on albums that I have shown before. Perhaps there's some other audiences here that will at least appreciate the brief mention. So now there's 20 questions here, so I do need to use a cheat sheet, though I have lined everything up, so hopefully it will flow well. I will try to be somewhat quick as I go through it, though reading some discussion between Bill at the VinylVerse and Mazzy, which I'm sure many of you know in the vinyl community. I think it was stated that the answer to everything is Bill Bruford. And we will get into some King Bruford, and yes, more Bruford and Bruford. Unfortunately, I do not have the album by Bruford, but I do know others have shown that, so I will also stay away from not only showing Norwegian stuff. There will be some Norwegian stuff and a new one that some of you may appreciate. Well, with that, I'll launch into the questions. First one is, what is the album that got you into prog? And I think I answered a similar question in one of my very first videos. I'll have to go into my CD collection for this one. This is Tubular Bells by Mike Oldfield. This particular edition is on a kind of a hardcover booklet CD. Pretty nice CD edition with some pictures of the recording. You can see the man himself. This is something that I listened to from I say my early teens in particular, as particularly when I graduated from a 80s style boombox to a little bit more of a serious stereo system. Nothing too fancy, but very nice for a teenager's room. And I was also allowed to crank it up a bit on occasion, as so very much did my dad on more than one occasion to listen to his prog rock collection. So this is mine, but my dad's copy was borrowed for quite a bit. I could also show Jethro Tull's Aqualung as an early prog rock influence, I suppose. And it's tough to fully draw the line, but I think that's when my appreciation started, with some of the earliest pictures of me as a toddler with the headphones on, listening to one of my dad's records. And of course, I should maybe say too, Tubular Bells maybe have gotten, I think maybe there's some opinions out there, is it prog or not, but I think it got some prog creds, and if you see it on YouTube, at least there's I don't know if it's a stage or studio version, but not all Mike Oldfield played instruments, with Steve Hillage as one of the helpers on guitar, and also I gather several members of the band Henry Cow. I think it's a BBC studio recording perhaps, but so there's certainly some prog cred there, I would say. Next one, an album with 4 or less songs. Not a overly hard question in the progressive rock world. One could go back to Mike Oldfield and show the album Amarok, which I have mentioned before. About an hour-long album, 1 track. But I won't go there. I will show one that I haven't shown for a while, but I think a very strong progressive rock album in the 1970s tradition. This is the Wobblers, Dwellers of the Deep, released in 2020. I think by some at least regarded as maybe one of the top 10 prog rock albums of all times in the kind of older tradition. I think they may have listened to these guys a little bit. One of the tracks here, you can hear some French phraseology, I would say. This is a great cover art, gatefold color vinyl edition for this particular one. Really highly recommended. Yes is also often someone associated with Wobbler music, and the vocalist in Wobbler, Andreas Wettergren Prestmo, does have a little bit of Ian Anderson, or John Anderson, sorry, Ian Anderson, that's the wrong band, John Anderson feel to some of his vocals, and but really strong album, highly recommended if you're not familiar. Want something new, yet something 70s inspired. Well, then the next question, an album on the Vertigo label. Well, I don't have an album that carries Vertigo label on it, but I did look up the label to figure out where might I have some re-releases, and yeah, I probably got quite a few of those. And this may be on the edge of proggy, but I still think maybe not entirely far out. This is Kraftwerk's Autobahn. This is the latest colored vinyl edition on Kling Klang Produkt, I believe in collaboration with Parlophone. And again, maybe not the strongest prog for cred to that, but felt I should show it. There will be another album coming later on that also used to have a Vertigo label on it, where I have a reissue. Actually, at least 2 of them, so there will be more, but I felt I had to not just keep referring to the same album. Next one, show an album with epic keyboards. Well, I just got a gift card for my wife for my birthday recently to the local record store that they sell quite a bit of used stuff, probably mostly used. And I just picked up a Rick Wakeman solo album, but for this purpose I thought I'd go maybe a little different. I'll show a CD. This is Klaus Schulze, Time Wind, double album. And here you have him on what I assume is a Moog synthesizer. Great electronic music. I would like to get some more Klaus Schulze in my collection. Certainly many other options as well. I always feel compelled to mention also someone that's kind of in the tradition of Keith Emerson, Rachel Flowers. You can find her videos on YouTube. She does some great international collaborations with artists across the world. They record in their home countries, home studios, and then someone assembles it all to one piece. They have done quite a few Emerson, Lake and Palmer pieces, and she also has some great Moog pieces out there of ELP music. Recommend you check her out. And by the way, she also has a Bandcamp site where you can listen to some of her own music, including a wonderful composition to honor Aging Blue. Then, is this a Prog album? Well, I was not quite sure what to show here. And probably a lot one could show, a lot to create debate. And I was thinking of Genesis Duke, which I know some people say is Prog, some say not, some say some of it is. But maybe I think I'm going to show a CD, Liquid Tension 3, with the Tony Levin, of course, which certainly have solid prog rock credits from King Crimson and other bands. John Petrucci, Mike Portnoy, and Jordan Dess, some Dream Theater. Guys, this just came out this spring or late spring. You could also get it on colored vinyl. This maybe is not kind of my primary type of music. It's really busy. I may call it a fretgasm album, but great after a long day, and you need to wake up the brain with some other things, kind of give it a swift kick, musical kick. There is at least one King Crimson brief phrase in here, which obviously must be, or at least I assume it's by Tony Levin. So they do have a cover version of Rhapsody in Blue by Gershwin on this album. And in the middle of it, all of a sudden you say, oh, hey, I'm listening to Gershwin, not King Crimson. But so, fun album. Maybe not for my everyday consumption, if you will, but a fun album for the right occasion. I think maybe most agree that it does not fall under Prog, but I maybe also think it could as well, to some extent. Artist or album out of Germany? Well, I have a lot of German stuff that I wish to get into. Sounds from the West Coast channel has some great prog rock videos, and I have a long wish list. I do have some of my own too, on vinyl, not too much. I will show one of my latest acquisitions is Amon Duel #2, the second iteration of them, Follows Day. This is a re-release on a kind of white, blue, purple colored vinyl. Probably not the easiest prog rock album to get into for those that wish to explore the genre or want to explore Amon Duel, and perhaps Wolf City might be a better starting point. And they have other things to choose from too, certainly. Otherwise, I do have some Guru Guru on CD as well. Then we'll show a UK album. Well, there's a lot to choose from here, particularly if I bring in my CD collection as well. But I'm gonna go tried and true and some maybe proto-prog here and re-show this In the Court of the Crimson King by King Crimson. I just love the cover, always intrigued me, and also the man in the inside of the gatefold. This is the Stephen Wilson remastered edition. Sounds really great. And then North or South American progressive rock. Well, there I struggled a bit, excuse me. I think as others have observed, there maybe isn't the largest tradition for progressive rock in the US. I have seen some postings online in the Prog Collector forum on Facebook that I check in on somewhat regularly, and seen some guys from South America that post a lot of stuff, and I really have a lot of work to do there to explore South American progressive rock. Unfortunately, I do not have any at this point. I'm gonna have to show a CD for this one. There maybe has been some discussion too whether or not this is progressive rock, but what I'm gonna show here is the Mars Volta with Francis the Mute. Pretty busy music, I think it's fair to say. Really kind of intriguing cover. I think too, if I recall correctly, Omar Rodriguez Lopez, which is behind this El Paso, Texas band, released a box set recently that I may be too late to get in on, but was intriguing. Then progressive rock gateway album. Wow, there's so much to be picked. I think Tubular Bells, which I showed earlier, could be it. And maybe, as I think Steve Carlson observed on one of his videos, maybe it's good to not have seen The Exorcist before you latch on to the Tubular Bells, but I'll show kind of a different album that has worked, I think maybe a little bit on one of my family members, Fragile by Yes, and particularly Roundabout, and someone made a nice kind of cut up snippets of Snoopy or Peanuts in a cartoon on YouTube, and kind of set it up to sync up a bit with Roundabout, and he enjoyed that. So I'm hoping maybe that this is gateway into wanting to listen to some prog rock. Not the cleanest copy I had here, but I think it might be an original one. Then all of them is the Everything Bill Bruford. Well, Bill Bruford. I'll go back to Fragile right away, but I do have more Bruford as well. UK with Eddie Jobson, John Wetton, Alan Holsworth, and Bill Bruford. Now, I did not really know the band UK before Bill at the VinylVerse showed it in his initiating tag video. So Bill, I appreciate you teaching me that this is something I should be on the lookout for. And when I went to the local record store to spend some of my gift card I got for my birthday here the other day, they had it here, so I kind of knew a little bit about what I was looking for. And I really like John Wetton's vocals. I really appreciate that. Alan Holsworth, of course, is great. And then Bill Bruford. I really, from just one listen, Mental Medication, the last track, I really enjoyed. I will need to spend more time on this album for sure. Not the cleanest copy I got at the record store this weekend, but also not the most expensive copy. It's not really chiefly a prog rock store by any means. So, well, more Bruford. King Crimson, Red, from the 70s. Great album. Starless is surely one of my favorite King Crimson tunes, though I tend to maybe like the live versions a little bit more. I appreciate maybe the little clearer guitar tone from Robert Fripp in some of the live versions, and there's some great ones out there on YouTube in the later iterations of King Crimson, playing live with Tony Levin, Jaco Jacksock, and 3 drummers at the front stage, and Mel Collins, even returning to King Crimson on playing saxophone and other instruments. Yes, classic with Bill Bruford. Also got the 33 RPM. Over there, generic. This is a great album, certainly King Crimson, Starless and Bible Black. Fracture probably is my favorite from this album. And I did also recently get this one, Bruford, One of a Kind. And I'm sure, I believe I have some more CDs, but I did find one more Bruford, King Crimson, live at Berkeley, California, August 1982. And then I think the rest of maybe my Bruford collection is in one of these old folders that you can put your CDs in. Unfortunately, something I had to do many years back when I moved from one continent to another, and I only had so much space. So in folders, the CDs went, and unfortunately, the covers are in a place where they shouldn't be, and I will never get to them. But at least I have the CDs and I have the music. Next one, concept albums. I'm gonna have to show something that I've showed before here. Tusmørke, Nordisk Krim, or Nordic Crime, released late February this year. The concept is stories around Danish bog bodies. These were bodies found in the Danish bogs back in the 90s, and for a while they weren't sure if they were based on some more recent crime, making it a police matter, or what had occurred there. Well, it turned out it was actually 6,000-year-old bodies. Tusmørke, or Twilight in English, if you will, made a double concept album out of this. Great music, a little tullish, folky, psychedelic to some extent. Highly recommend you check it out if you can get past the cover. Kind of a harsh cover in a way. Then a female prog artist. Well, I'm gonna, maybe this is a little on the edge, but I don't think it's too far on the edge. I'm gonna go back to the home country, and what I will show here, I will start out with the very latest album by Mollestad Trio, and the album is Ding Dong, You're Dead. I'm not quite sure what prompted the album title. If this is the case of watching too much Wizard of Oz during lockdown periods, or what has gone on here. I think most of the album was recorded last fall. It was released in Europe, I believe, late March. In the US, it showed up in, I think, late April. I've only had one listen to this. I just very recently got it. Great album. So Mollestad Trio consists of Hedvig Mollestad on guitar. She is a really great guitar player. Often categorized under jazz, and this is on the Rune Gramophone label, which tends to release a jazz label. But you can also call this progressive jazz. It's often discussed in progressive rock settings or magazines and publications and forums. The music is also written chiefly by Hedvig Mollestad, and her bass player. She also has written a couple of tunes on this album. Mollestad is so much prolific, I would say, in her releases. She just last year released a solo album, so sort of also kind of answers the next question, someone that went solo. This is her solo album, Echidna, from 2020. A great album, got great reviews, out there. Also Rune Grammofon. And I have one more of her. I'll show. This is her. This is the trio again, with the album Infant Terrible. Really great guitarist. Can be quieter, calm, and can be very heavy. I highly recommend you check it out if not familiar. And then show your favorite Roger Dean art. And well, I could pick a few things, and I've already showed a few things, but I can't help it. I like motifs from the sea, from the ocean. So this is not going to be an original selection, but an honest one. VinylVerse picked the same one, I believe. This is Gentle Giant's Octopus. This is a recent reissue on the Alucard label that I believe all the recent Gentle Giant reissues are released on, including one to come here. Freehand is being released here on a colored vinyl edition, coming up soon. In June, I believe. Pre-orders are available, at least in the US. Then show an album from 1971. So essentially an album that has its 50th anniversary this year. And show another album that I picked up at the record store this last weekend. Part of my gift card. This is a re-release, so this was brand new. And on the hype sticker, it's shown loudly that this is remastered by Bernie Grundman, who's done a lot of remastering, and I think very well respected for his remastering jobs and audiophile records and whatnot. And I must admit I haven't even had a chance to listen to this particular edition yet. But sure, it's a bit nice if I hold the album the right way. But if it's anything like the other albums I have mastered by Bernie Grundman, it will be excellent sound. Echoes, certainly one of my favorite tunes altogether. Also, if you want a bit of fun, check out the Echoes, the acoustic version that David Gilmour and his band, including Rick Wright, did back in 2008, I believe it was, in Abbey Road Studios. Might have been an era where they rehearsed for like the Gdansk concert, and he plays acoustic guitar in the studio as a practice. And you got Guy Pratt on Chapman stick, and just a fun video. You'll find it on YouTube. Let's see, live prog rock album, and we'll go to Mr. Hackett. This is Genesis Revisited. Oops, there you can see it a little bit better. Genesis Revisited, live at the Royal Albert Hall, or the Albert Pub as he calls it. Great live album. I've seen some places it gotten a little bit of critique for being a bit bass heavy in the mix. I could maybe see that. My system is a bit bright, can be a bit bright at times, so I'm not too bothered by it. A really great triple LPs, came with CDs as well, and all sorts of good Genesis stuff on here. The next one is last purchased. Well, I already indicated a few things that I got very recently, and some of my other responses, but I'll show a few more things. This is Needlepoint, Norwegian band, Walking Up That Valley, released in 2020. And I know other albums I've shown, like Yusha and other videos, I mentioned that some have mentioned in the kind of beginning, the Canterbury category or subgenre of prog rock. This is probably the most Canterbury, I maybe call it Canterwegian style music. This is on the BJK music label. Not the easiest thing to get in the US. It took a while before it showed up. I know in Europe I think it's more accessible. I believe kind of a later Soft Machine-ish. This is Softworks Abracadabra in Osaka on the Moon June label. Just recently got as well. And this is with Elton Dean, Alan Holdsworth, Hugh Hopper, John Marshall. I'm not familiar with all of them, certainly Alan Holdsworth. So I look forward to check this album out. And had some pretty inexpensive finds. Some of them are maybe a bit hard used. I have to go through and clean them. Rick Wakeman. Some of these are just a few dollars each. From the used bin at a record store, The Myths and Legends of King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table. Alan Holdsworth, I, Robot, which may not be old prog. I still need to check that out myself, but again, kind of inexpensive find. Deep Purple, made in Japan. This is a double album on pink vinyl, special release. Very nice, clean used copy I was able to get at the local record store. I look forward to checking this out. And finally, Yes, Tomato, a non-Bruford Yes. Unfortunately, I discovered later this slipcase isn't the best. Cover isn't the best. Well, I'll check out the album further. For some reason, I have not owned a lot of Yes up until recently, so I need to remedy that. Then, Prog album in the last 25 years. Well, let me show this album, Agusa, self-titled album, a southern Swedish band from Malmö, I believe. Great progressive rock cover art. Great Swedish progressive rock. Was kind of bummed out today. Tried to order another one off of Discogs, and along with a couple of PFM albums, and yeah, the Discog listings had aged badly, so they hardly had anything, including the Agusa other album I was looking for. Recommend you check it out if you are into Scandinavian progressive rock, certainly. Then show an album with an incredible guitar solo. Well, I was thinking about going back to the Steve Hackett live album and Firth of Fifth, which would not have been a very original response, though certainly an honest one, and one I've tried at least some phrases on it on my own guitars, but I am nowhere good enough to accomplish it. It's just fun to try it out, though. So I will go to another very guitar heavy album that I listen to a lot, and this is, I don't know what name should one put on Frank Zappa's music. I agree with what VinylVerse said in his initiating video that he's kind of his own category. Certainly has a huge catalog. But one of my favorite albums, which by Frank Zappa, which often does not show up towards the top of the list for many, I think, is Shut Up and Play Your Guitar. Wonderful guitar music. A lot of nice solos. I know even his son Dweezil has commented on his dad's maybe somewhat peculiar technique, and I'm not one to speak there, but really enjoy the playing in this on this album. And I have not found a good vinyl copy yet. I would love if it came out on vinyl too. Let's see. On top of the want list, well, I just showed Agusa a couple of minutes ago here, and they're coming out with a new album in October, and that's one that's on my mind right now, is find a way to get that hopefully for a reasonable shipping price to the US. And then I see here in my pre-arranged list that I really kind of jumped also a little over the solo album question. I did mention Mollestad, Hedvig Mollestad and her band, the Mollestad Trio, as someone had gone solo as well. But I had really thought of showing someone else, so I'm gonna do a go back. This is Jukka Tolonen, and here's Lambert Land by Tasavallan Presidenti, of which Jukka Tolonen was a part. So one other example of someone gone solo, and certainly there's plenty on those. I really do enjoy Jukka Tolonen's music and Tasavallan a great deal. This is a recent reissue on the Svart label, on kind of golden vinyl. So I think that about wraps it up. I could go into some more guitar music, but I will save you just to briefly maybe mention for guitar. This in brief is my collection of Terje Rypdal CDs. Terje Rypdal is Norwegian jazz guitarist, I think with Prog creds as well. He has played with many internationally famous jazz musicians and others, and I'm sure many of you have heard about Terje Rypdal as well. So another just breath of really nice guitar playing that I think many prog rock fans would enjoy. This video went a lot longer than I thought. I hope you enjoyed it. I look forward to seeing more responses, and I hope you all have a great week. See you later. Take care.